Welcome back, Sebastian here. So time for my preview for the 2024 Portland E-Prix, which will be happening this weekend. Of course, we've had a bit of a month's break since the last race, so last few weekends of the season. This weekend, of course, being a doubleheader, and then again in, I believe, 3 weeks' time in London, last doubleheader of the season. So, of course, this is the first weekend this year where we could name our Formula E champion. Nick Cassidy, of course, leading the standings with 167 points. Second, Pascal Wehrlein, 142. Evans, third, 132. Roland, fourth, 131. And Dennis, fifth, 113 points. And the probabilities I've got, the percentages beside, are from my last simulations I ran. It's plus or minus 1%, which is why you see a bit of confusion in third and fourth. But, Cassidy at this point is the heavy favorite to win the Formula E title. 84% chance of winning according to that simulation. For Wehrlein, outside chance 9.5%. And then Evans, third, 3.6%. Roland, fourth, 4%. Again, that's where that 1% margin of error comes in, very, very close between the two. And then you have reigning champion Jake Dennis in fifth. 0.5% chance of winning the title. So really, at this point, he's really out of it unless he won all 4 races, 3 of the 4 races, another podium, and the other 4 drivers had absolutely miserable races. But yeah, realistically, Cassie's probably going to win the title. He could win the title as well if he comes out with an advantage of about, let's see, 58 points. I think he would need an advantage of to come out as champion, which is possible, of course. Now, moving on to last year's race, the first year, and of course, unfortunately, going to be one of only 3 races at this great Portland track. It was won by Nick Cassidy, Jake Dennis in second, and Antonio Felix Costa rounded out the podium. It was a pretty exciting race, very peloton heavy, so I do remember that led to a lot of complaint from some corners. Of course, some other moments from that race was Muller having that really heavy crash along the back straight. And of course, that was the weekend where we had the DS Spygate, where basically both DS Penske's were disqualified from qualifying for apparently spying on the other cars. Now, looking at the circuit itself, Portland International Raceway, I believe it's called, 3.19 kilometers. This weekend, the drivers will have 38 kilowatt hours of power, so a little bit less than usual. And apparently, a lot of this is because a lot of these measures have been because of issues with the battery side and basically how many charge cycles they've gone through. Same thing that happens with an old smartphone battery. You basically use it so much after several years, and by the time you get a new phone after, say, 5 years, like I just had to do, obviously the batteries doesn't last as long as when you first bought it. So the exact same problem is happening with the Formula E cars. Hopefully it's something that's fixed for next year. The first race of the weekend on Saturday will be 27 laps, and the second will be 26 laps. Race lap record, of course, from last year, 1:11.216 set by Mitch Evans. If you want to try to make an overtake, there's honestly a lot of different places you can make a move. Turn 1's going to be the obvious one, but there is a possibility of making a move into turn 10, this quick left, right, left sequence. And also, because it's a permanent circuit, purpose-built track, quite wide, so you can make an overtake at several of the other corners as well. Of course, long straight, so lots of drag, and it will be a very energy-critical race. So drivers are going to be, lifting and coasting up very, very early, which of course means we're going to have a lot of peloton racing. Now, of course, there's rumors going around that they were adding a second chicane right here on the back straight to try to save energy. Was not on the Formula E app, on their official circuit map as of the recording of this video, so I just left the track map as it was there. But of course, that's something that might change as well. Now, finishing up with a look at the schedule, for Friday, FP1, 4:55 p.m. local time, and then we move to Saturday, FP2, 7:25 in the morning, qualifying 9:40 in the morning, and then the race at 2:03 local time. I think a little bit earlier than last year. I remember last year there was a lot of complaints from European fans about the start time. It was perfect for me, but I know, of course, if something's perfect for me, it's going to be terrible for Europe and for most of the rest of the world. Now, for Sunday, FP3, 7:25 local time, qualifying 9:40 in the morning, and then the race 2:03 local time. And of course, a little bit before this weekend, the season 11 calendar, the calendar for next year was released. Unfortunately, it seems like we will not be having any more races at Portland. So the race last year and then these 2 races this year, it seems, will be the only ones that we have at the circuit. Bit disappointed by that. I think it was a good race. And I think it'll suit the Gen 3 Evo car a bit better. And I honestly think, if we can have 3 F1 races in US, there's no reason we can't have 2 Formula E races. In fact, back in season 1 we had Miami and we had Long Beach, so no reason it can't happen. So finishing up this video with just some predictions for the weekend. Just had to grab a marker there. I think coming into this weekend, I think you're really gonna, again, the 5 guys who have been really the title favorites, I think are probably gonna be the ones who have the best shot. So I think for that, I'm gonna go with Mitch Evans. He's been on a pretty good run of form, and Jaguar's been generally very, very strong at these very energy critical races. For P2, I think that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Pascal Wehrlein. Pascal Wehrlein, again, does done pretty well most races. Last time out in Shanghai wasn't so great, but I think he'll be in a better spot this time out. Roland is one of the few drivers who doesn't have experience at this track, so I think I'm not going to go with him for the podium. I think rounding out that final spot, I think I'm going to go with Nick Cassidy. He's been so consistent, and even if he hasn't been winning races, he's always been second or third, even when he isn't. So I think an Evans, Wehrlein, Cassidy podium is a pretty reasonable prediction for this week. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think Cassidy will come away from this weekend with a title? Last thing to note as well, you'll notice I haven't put any kind of weather forecasts. I assume it's going to be nice weather, as usually is this time of year in Portland. But that being said, I had to record this early. I'm going to be traveling all this week as when this goes live, and I'm not even sure, if I'm going to be able to do reviews of the race. But yeah, just saying, thought I would let you know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.